jump shot caller. Always been a baller, know that you the one. I can feel it in my heart, yeah. I won't stop charging, we going come harder. I can see you and I, way beyond the stars, girl.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Steve. Who would you guys want to draft? I'm gonna leave a poll. Every video there's a poll, so just always, in every single video I upload, check out the poll. Who would win? Who would you guys draft? Larry Bird or Carmelo Anthony? So in this video, I'm going to explain both sides of both arguments. So let's go ahead and start with the legend Larry Bird. He's a 3-time champion, 12-time NBA All-Star, 3-time league MVP, winning it 3 years in a row, 2 Finals MVP awards. If you think about it, his career average is 24, 10, and 6. But the downside to Larry Bird is longevity, and it's not his fault. Supposedly, the story goes, I'm not sure how true this is, but in numerous documentaries that I've seen about Larry Bird, supposedly he was shoveling in his driveway, and that's what tweaked his back. And that's why he only played 12 seasons in the NBA, supposedly. Now let's look at the argument for Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony, for his career, 25, 6, and 3. What makes that so special? What makes it so special is he's never averaged under 20 points per game, and longevity-wise, he lasted longer than Larry Bird already. May not have been as successful, but then an argument for that could be, look at the teams he's had around him. And then, you want to talk about playoff success, let's make a correlation. What about the times where Melo actually had solid role players? Not even an all-stars, just solid role players. 2008-2009, they went to the Western Conference Finals, and they lost in 6 games against a prime Kobe, who went on to win his 4th NBA championship that year. Then we also have 2012-2013, when Carmelo Anthony led the New York Knicks to the 2nd best record in the Eastern Conference, only to fall short in the 2nd round to the Indiana Pacers. So we understand that there's arguments to both sides. But longevity-wise, Carmelo is probably going to last a few more years, averaging these crazy numbers. This is his 14th year in the NBA, and he's still doing his thing. So those are the arguments for both sides. The pros and the cons. Some cons for Carmelo. He's not really a great passer. He's not really a great defender, whereas Larry Bird was an all-around player. You look at Larry Bird could pass. He averaged 24, 10, and 6. But besides that, if you look at his highlights and watch old Celtics games, he could pass, he could shoot, he could score at will, he could post you up, he was athletic, he was strong, he was an all-NBA defensive team numerous times, great defender, one of the most all-around players ever, extremely underrated in my opinion. I actually made a video about this saying why Larry Bird was, I'm pretty sure I did, or maybe I talked about it in my Magic Johnson versus Larry Bird video, but I did say Larry Bird is extremely underrated because he is. When you ask people who is your top 5 ever, most people don't even bring up Larry Bird, which is shocking because Larry Bird, in terms of all around, he was like LeBron. Literally, but with a jump shot. In a sense. He didn't score as much, but still, he was like LeBron with a jump shot. Maybe not as athletic and ferocious and strong, but, come on. So, and there goes another truck. Every single time I decide to do a video in this college, always a truck goes by me. Always, always, always. I apologize for that, right? So now let's look at other pros for Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony is one of the best scorers in NBA history. One of the most versatile. You don't need to look at stats to prove it. Other than the fact that he's one of 3 other players, LeBron, KD, and Michael Jordan, to never average under 20 points per game in their career for over 10 plus seasons. So that says a lot. That says a lot, man. That does. So longevity-wise, Melo's on that list. One of the best scorers ever. But would you take a scorer that will last a very long time in the league, or would you want to take someone that can do everything that will last only around a decade in the league, as opposed to maybe a decade and a half? Or maybe a decade and 7 years, in 3 quarters. Which would you pick? Me personally, it would depend on what I want to do. If I'm a GM, general manager, if I'm a GM of a team, and the owner says, go get us someone that could help us win right away. Okay, that's going to be tough because no one can win without help. So now we have to look at who do we have on our roster. Here's the thing. Larry Bird would work with more players than Carmelo would. And the reason for that is because Carmelo Anthony is a dominant ball. He's ball dominant, pretty much. That's what I meant to say. Excuse me. He's ball dominant. Where Larry Bird, he can do everything. Off the ball, on the ball, whatever you need him to do, he's going to do it. So in that sense, it's reasonable to say, if we're surrounded by shooters and defenders, I would go with Carmelo Anthony. If we're surrounded by a whole bunch of random people and we need someone to help get them better, to fit around someone, I would go with Larry Bird. But I will say this, most GMs, without question, would take Larry Bird over Carmelo Anthony. I'm just trying to not be biased, and I'm trying to give both sides of the story, which is why I gave why someone may draft Melo, and which is why I said some people may draft Larry Bird. So in the poll, let me know, who would you guys draft? Larry Bird, an NBA legend, or Carmelo Anthony, another NBA legend? You know, one has more accolades and achievements than the other, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're that much better. You know, I'm just saying what someone would say when they're looking at the situation. This is not, you know what I'm saying? So it all depends. Who would you take? Let me know in the poll. Explain why in the comment section below. It's been Steve. I'm out of here. Peace.